Hey everyone, it's Diabetic Danica, and in case you didn't know, it's summer! Yay! I don't know if it's technically summer by the calendar, but I'm on summer break now, and so I thought I would talk about swimming, heat, all that summer type stuff with diabetes and having the insulin pump and the CGM, and how you deal with that. So let's start with sunbathing. I did this yesterday. As you can tell, maybe, I don't know if you can tell, but I am very sunburned. See that? I don't know, but I'm very red, and I went sunbathing yesterday. Probably should have used sunscreen. I did use some partway through, I just didn't do it at the beginning, so that was what happened. But anyway, so what I do with my pump when I sunbathe is basically I just put it anywhere there's shade because there's insulin in here and insulin cannot get too hot or it won't work anymore. So I just put it under me usually. Like usually I make a shadow, you know, if I'm laying on my belly, this part of me makes a shadow and there's a space there, I can put it there. If I'm laying on my back, I'll just tuck it under, same thing, where there's shade. And yeah, I try to put it usually under the towel too, if I'm using a towel, just to kind of like keep the direct sunlight off of it. But it usually works pretty well. And if there's shade under your chair and you have a long tubing, maybe you could tuck it under your chair too. Anywhere there's shade, do that. Do not leave your pump in direct sunlight because the insulin in there is going to go bad. This was my first time sunbathing with the CGM, and what I did is I kept my CGM receiver in the shade, just like the pump, wherever the pump was. Actually, not really. The pump had to be close to me, so I put it under me. The CGM receiver, I put in my purse in the shade. So, yeah. The thing I was kind of worried about was the transmitter, and mine is really coming off, as you can see. But I wasn't sure if that could be in direct sunlight. And there were some points, you know, where I didn't mean to, but it just happened to be on the same side that the sun was beating down, and I was kind of like, I hope I don't break my transmitter. This is the only one I got. So today I looked it up online to see what temperatures that it can operate under. It says that the receiver can operate in 113 degrees Fahrenheit, and so, wow, that is very hot, but still I wouldn't leave it in direct sunlight because that can get up there. And the transmitter is okay in 113 degrees Fahrenheit as well, but it only operates in up to 107.6 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is a big, huge number. That's a really, really hot day, but even if it's like 90 degrees outside, you might think it's fine, but if the direct sunlight is beating on it, it could heat up to higher. And so I would definitely keep the receiver in the shade, and if at all possible, keep the transmitter out of direct sunlight. But I mean, if it happens for like the 20 minutes that you're on that side, I think that's probably fine. I did it yesterday and it's working perfectly. So just be careful, to say the least. But yeah, it's 107.6 for the transmitter. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but your glucose meter actually can't be in too high of temperature as well. I'm not sure on the exact number because probably every meter is different, but I have had it where it was too hot and it said, you know, temperature too high, can't function. So definitely keep your meter in the shade with your pump and with your receiver and all that. And your extra vial of insulin that you have with you, keep that in the shade as well. Or if possible, keep all those things inside because that's going to be the coolest place for them. But if you need to keep an eye on them or keep them close, the shade should be okay, usually. Another thing with the heat, often for me at least, the heat makes my blood sugar drop because I think what happens, I don't know if this is true, but the heat like dilates your vessels, right? And so I feel like more sugar can get through and more insulin can be like readily available and like sucked up and just everything's working faster, and so I go low. I don't know if that's really true, but I definitely go low in the heat, and I'm also sweating and all of that. I'm actually sweating right now a little bit too. It's hot. So I would just like any other day, watch your blood sugars really carefully. I asked on Facebook and Twitter if you guys wanted me to cover anything specific in this video, and one person asked about dehydration. This person was Angela Botts, and she kind of asked how that affects blood sugar. I honestly don't know how dehydration affects blood sugar, but I do know that high blood sugar can make you dehydrated, and so I would say just be sure you're drinking lots of water anyway. Like anyone, whether they're diabetic or not, should be drinking water if they're out in the heat. So just make sure you're really, really hydrated, especially if your blood sugar is high. Drink extra water, and that would be pretty much all I know about that. Let's move on from heat into swimming. So when I swim with my pump, I do take it off. The only reason really that I do this is because I don't really know where I would put it. Like, it's definitely waterproof. I have the Animus, and this one is waterproof, so I technically could swim with it, but I just think it would get in the way, and I go low when I swim anyway, so I always just unclip it. I'll show you that right now. So someone asked recently to see what it's like when I unclip it, so this is what it looks like. Ta-da! Super easy. And you can use a little plug to stop up that opening if you want. I usually only use this if I go swimming in lakes or the ocean, because then like debris can get in there, but pools are generally okay, for me at least. But I mean, if you want to, it's better safe than sorry, right? For the CGM, obviously I don't take my receiver with me. This is not waterproof, but this is the transmitter and the sensor and everything, so I just swim normally. As you can see, mine is coming off a lot. I just put this one in not that long ago, so I think it's a combination of the heat and I don't know, I guess the swimming, but it was coming off before I ever swam, so this one has just not been sticking well. But you can always use medical tape or those sticky pads that you put down before you put down your sensor to help it stay down easier. Also, one thing to keep in mind with the Dexcom is if you're swimming, you might not get a signal because it can only go through so much. You know, if there's too much water covering it, it's not going to be able to go through that and give a signal to this to tell you what your blood sugar is. So just keep that in mind, you know, keep checking your blood sugar, obviously, and you just might not get a signal, so just FYI. And definitely if you're swimming, make sure to keep snacks on hand. For me, at least, swimming really drops my blood sugar because I'm doing all this activity, and I don't know, it just makes it drop a lot more than other exercise I've noticed at times. So make sure you have lots of yummy goodies around.